Live with CDP Sports Talk, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and TuneIn. Now, here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Season 11, Episode 5, overall 555 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out barrycullen.com for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, along with their great selection of all-electric vehicles and as well. You can call the dealership 519-0210 and tell them Chris Palme sent you, or you can email the dealership Chevrolet dealers run and operated here in the city of Guelph since 1969, and I've been a customer of theirs for the last 25 years. I hope everybody is doing well on this Tuesday, it's Monday, June 30th, 2025. I guess I skipped the day ahead because my birthday was yesterday. So Monday, June 30th, 2025. We're one day away from holiday here, and I want to wish I'm looking forward to my guest tonight, and this is her first appearance on our show. Her name is Debra Palardy. She's been doing stand-up comedy for about 8 years now, and she's the author of her own book called Sweetie, How much should you give up to keep that relationship? She self-published that book, and we're going to bring on Debra Palardy now, who is from Rhode Island, and we're going to talk to her about her comedy career and a little bit about her book too. Good evening, Debra. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I am doing good here, except I got the days wrong. I thought it was Tuesday, and it's really Monday, so I'm one day ahead.
That's okay. I do that all the time, but I should say happy birthday.
Well, thank you. I made it to 53, so I'm very lucky because I know a lot of people that have never made it to even 50. So you know what? Every year now, a birthday is a blessing.
Yes, lucky to get here. I agree.
So how are you doing, Debra, and how are things in Rhode Island right now?
Oh, I'm doing really great. Things in Rhode Island are sunny and hot. We've been hoping it was going to get hot, and hoping everyone around has been hoping it's going to get hot. It gets hot, and we're like, oh my God, it's hot. I'm not sure what anybody wants anymore.
I believe Rhode Island and Massachusetts, the New England area, I believe your weather is similar to ours here in Ontario. Have you ever been to Canada yet?
I haven't, but I would love to go. I would love to go because it seems like a really nice place, an amazing place.
And I was in Boston a number of years ago. I didn't get to go everywhere in Boston, obviously, but the state seems very beautiful. And then Rhode Island and New Hampshire, and it just seems like the whole New England area is very beautiful.
Yeah, a lot of history here. A lot of history. I mean, I believe that one of the streets that I live on, George Washington has crossed before. So, and many other people. It's a lot of history here.
What do you like about living in Rhode Island the most, in the state of Rhode Island the most?
Well, I mean, I grew up here and my family's here. So, I mean, it just feels like, home. When I was younger, I thought I should get out of here. So go someplace better that's better. And I did do that. I moved across the country, and I just realized that I was someplace better, and I better get back there.
What are some of your favorite cities in the New England area, and what are some of the attractions that you like? And for people that have never, for people that are watching this show live stream or audio, have never been to Rhode Island or the New England area, what would you tell them?
Well, I mean, we have a lot of different things to do here in the New England area. There's just so much going on, depending on the time of year that you come. You know, the it's hard. It's a tough question to answer. I mean, there's so many sights to see. There's Newport. There's the mansions. Not to be cliche, but I mean, there's Boston, like you had been to. There's so much history in Boston, Providence, Connecticut, New Jersey. We're really close to New York, so it's really just a little circle of amazing stuff. And just below us is Maryland and Washington D.C. So there's just a lot of stuff in a very small area, and everyone seems a little bit different too. So even you don't travel that far and you feel like you've gone someplace else.
What is your favorite time of the year? For me, it's now fall.
I love summer.
Summer?
I love summer because I love the water. I love swimming, and it's just my favorite time of the year. I'm alone. Most of my family and friends, everybody who I care about, do not share my love of summer, but I don't care. It's summer.
I used to like summer, but I find our summers here in Ontario, the humidity's really gotten worse over the years. So I kind of like the fall in the winter time now too.
Well, I am happy at every
Yeah,
season. I love the fall for whatever all the things that it gives, in the
yeah.
spring for all the new beginnings and stuff. And the winter time it has all of its own beauty and stuff. Obviously, you don't like those days where now I don't have to go in the office when it snows. I used to have to. So back then, sometimes it would snow so hard that you'd work so hard just to get out of the driveway and you haven't even left for work yet. So I think that's probably one of the things I don't like about the winter. But since 2020, when a lot of people, well, companies were finding a way to make sure that people could work from home, now that isn't a non-issue now. So I
I
guess I don't
wanted
think any of it.
I wanted to ask you this, Deborah. Are you a sports fan, or is your family sports fans too?
Well, I grew up in I have a big family, a lot of brothers and sisters and husband, and 5 children, and so I have sports fans all around me. I do like sports. I do like sports. Certain sports, but I am still a woman. So I appreciate sports for the fact that it is a nice outlet for the people that I love, and that they love it. So, and my husband does a lot of golfing. I always thought I might take up golfing someday. So I do love sports in that sense, that I have people that I love so much that have something that they love.
Here's a story about me. I haven't golfed in 31 years. The last time I golfed was August of 1994. So I guess I should
Oh,
try it again. It's been a while, 31 years.
why did you give it up?
I just I just never, it was never really my cup of tea. When I played sports, it was hockey, baseball, football, basketball, but golf, I like mini golf, but real golf, it's a real skill. It's not as easy as people think. I guess
No, I'm sure.
I just never really, it was never really my cup of tea. I don't hate it. It just, the other sports is something I really enjoy more. So.
That makes sense. That makes sense. You know.
Deborah, can you tell I'm based out of Ontario, just outside of Toronto, in a city called Guelph. It's called Guelph, Ontario, which is known as the Royal City. Can you tell my audience a little bit about yourself?
Yes. I'm 66. I'm probably not supposed to say that, but there it is. I've been married for 37 years. I have 5 children, 3 grandchildren. I pretty much didn't do anything for myself while my kids were small. It was just, I was a full-time mom. Not, no, I worked and stuff, but I just focused on that. I didn't really do anything for myself. And then my kids got older, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, hey, remember me? So I had known I always wanted to do stand-up comedy, and so I decided to try that. I did it at a little place here in Rhode Island called Pub on Park. They have open mic night every single Monday. And so I drove down there every single Monday for a couple of years at least to try my hand comedy. I remember the very first night that I went was they called my name, and it just sounded like, what? Even though I signed up and went down there, I drove for like 30 minutes to get down there. When they signed my name, I froze. And you see people in movies sometimes when you're like really rooting for them and they freeze, and you're like, no, don't freeze. And I was one of those people. But when I walked up, I just remember my legs feeling like spaghetti, and I had never actually experienced that before. And I had 5 children, and lots of other scary things that happened. But now I was like spaghetti. But I got up there and just said the first couple of things, and somebody laughed, and I was like, oh, I like that. So it was like that first little back and forth, and then I just started, and I had a lot of comedy built up inside me. It was just flowing out of me. I've had it my whole life, so that's why it was something that I always wanted to do. And it was just after that first laugh, it was like, okay, I guess we're doing this. So
how did you overcome the stage fright? And have you seen stage fright, which they call it in the entertainment industry? Have you seen it a lot with some other comedians as well?
I think everybody has stage fright. I think it's just one of those things that happens just before you go on to everybody. It's just that feeling of, I don't know if it's kind of fear, but it's also like thrilling too. So I don't know if sometimes people call it stage fright and it's really just, a little shush. But I think I get it every single time. And I do comedy now on Zoom every week if you check out my Facebook page, you can see I do it for Dat Fan and friends. I do that once a week. I took the week off this week. He was the first person to win Last Comedy Standing like 18 years ago. So now he has his own comedy Zoom, which is really organized, and it's a great place to practice your craft and network. So I do that. I'm still doing that every week.
I know when I started my new career, which was over 5 years ago during the pandemic, I did it through live streaming virtual talk shows.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us the differences between doing it live streamed as a comedian and doing it in stage with people?
The live stream is really mostly just comedians practicing their craft. And when you're on stage, there's people in the audience that came there. They're not comedians. So it's really a lot, a lot more interactive when you're doing it on stage. Because there's people that they're not comedians. They're not waiting for their turn to go up. They're not watching you waiting for their turn to go up. They're waiting for comedy, and they're really interactive. And so on stage, I don't think Zoom is ever gonna top being on stage ever.
It's just like now, the last couple of years, I've been able to do live in-person interviews. And as much as I love doing virtual talk shows, there's nothing better than when you're interviewing somebody in person at a stadium or ballpark, or even a comedy. I was at Second City in Toronto a month ago, and I got to interview and meet my friend Mary Kennedy, who is a comedian who's in LA, but she's originally from Boston.
I'm pretty sure I have done comedy on Dat's Live with Mary Kennedy. I know that name. She's blonde, right?
Yes, and her birthday is the same day as mine. We were born the same day in the same year. So,
wow.
Yeah, she's a great comedian, and she still comes back to the New England area to do comedy as well.
Well, I'll have to look for her because
yes,
as a comedian, you never know when you're going to want to just go, you know what? I think I'm going to go look for a place to do some comedy. So there's a lot of places out there where you can just kind of hop in and do some. And so that's kind of cool.
I love connecting people too. I know with the radio media industry, connection and networking is huge. I assume it's just as important in the comedy industry too, connections and networking.
Well, yeah, because before I started doing comedy, I knew there was like comedians and they kind of knew each other and stuff, but I wasn't prepared for this amazing wonderful community of people, and I mean diverse community of people that are just welcoming and consider you part of the family. And it's been one of the greatest gifts because I just love being part of that community, and I would never go back and undo it ever.
I can relate myself because when I started this 5.5 years ago, I reached out to professional broadcasters and celebrities. Didn't think they would give me the time of day, and a lot of them have given me time of day, and they. That's why I love doing this. Is because I love the storytelling. I love the learning aspect, but also connecting with people who I never thought I'd be able to connect with.
And I've heard somebody say something about stand-up comedy, that it's the most intimate and personal art form, where you're really just you know you're really just putting it out there and hoping for the best. And sometimes you bomb, you know. Every comedian does, and I think when that happens, if you're smart, you'll learn some stuff, because the people who get the comedy are the ones who decide whether it's funny or not. Because I know there's a lot of comedians out there who go, "This was funny," "This was a funny joke," and then nobody laughed. So you realize that it's like they're the ones who decide. It's because some stuff's thinky, and sometimes people don't really want to think to get to the punchline, you know.
The word I wanted to use too, and this goes for any career, is you have to have a strong mindset. You have to believe in yourself
Hmm.
because nobody else will believe in you unless you do. And you also, I think you in any career too, I'm sure you, I can't speak for you, but strong support system too, because in any career, you're going to have your successes and you're going to have your, I don't like saying the word failure. I
Hmm.
say temporary setbacks. And for me, I use the temporary setbacks as extra motivation to keep improving and getting better.
Yeah, I think the temporary setbacks, I like to call them as success's first cousin, once removed, because it's kind of like a form of success, but you don't realize it because you learn something, you know?
Sometimes you learn more from your setbacks than you do from your
Yes,
successes. And I talk
yes,
to professional athletes too, and I find sometimes I learn more from them when they lose than they win, and they tell me the same thing too.
yeah. So it's all good. It's all good. Unless somebody shoots you while you're up there, I guess. Then it's not good.
Deborah, who were some of your early influences and mentors in the comedy industry?
Oh, good gravy. I mean, can you imagine trying to name a couple of names? There's so many people that are so amazing. Like, God, it's like Cat Williams and Jim Brewer and another new person like Sebastian Manicheluzzo. Oh God, Bill Burr, Christopher Titus, the the one that his name escapes me, but he's one of my favorites. He was on Rescue Me. Uh, he's actually from this area. Why is his name him? I thought was so funny. There's just so many. There's just so many. Like if I named all those, and if you could come up with some more names, I'm like, oh, even them, even I just love every single comedian because I know what I'm looking at. I know what I'm seeing. So that's why I just love them all so much.
Without getting into politics, obviously, I want to focus on this. Comedy is like music because when I talk to a lot of musicians and comedians, they find it's like therapy, and it is nice to go to a concert or a comedy show where you can get your mind off all your stresses and what's going on for a couple hours.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's definitely like therapy. I mean, I find it cheaper than going to a therapist. Sometimes you get paid. you know, it's something that I think I could turn to after I retire, something. I haven't really retired yet. I know I told you my age, and you're thinking you haven't retired. No, I have not. I have not retired yet. But
I'm 53, and you know what? I've had people that were in their 70s and 80s that switched careers. So with my show, I've had people that were as young as 20, and I've had people on. I've had a comedian on. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple years ago. His
no.
name was Marty Ross. He was 80 years old, and he was on America's Got Talent. And to me, age is just a number.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I used to think about this number when I was a kid and wonder what it would be like, and I barely noticed. I mean, the fact that I can do more things is basically it's a benefit because I can do more things than I could when I was a minor. So I don't mind getting old that much.
I just call it mature. And I wanted to ask you this, Deborah. I wanted to get your thoughts. Um, what are some different types of comedy out there? And how would you describe yourself as a stand-up comedian?
I do clean comedy. I know there's a lot of people who don't do clean comedy, and they love it. They stand by it. And when I first got started, I had gone to a challenge one night, and there was so many comedians, and I did my clean stuff, and everybody laughed. And then somebody came in. They were not clean at all, and they won. And I thought, well, maybe I can do both. Um, but I couldn't. I tried. I couldn't. I could only do my stuff. My stuff is my stuff. The other stuff is not my stuff. It was something I'd have to make up that wasn't me. And I tried it and it didn't work out. I just can only do whatever is mine. So I'm kind of do the clean comedy. Once in a while I'll throw in a swear word, but
When you do your comedy, if you're doing it in person and not virtually, do you like to get your audience to participate too?
I have not done I have not done that audience work. I haven't
Okay.
done that, but I have stuff. And every once in a while, I'll say one word to somebody who says something to me first. I mean, not like heckling or anything, but it's not the kind that you see Matt Rife do, where he's just. I mean, that's like his whole set and stuff. I don't do that, but I have it. That is some stuff that I can do. That is mine, and so I'm not against it. I can see it happening in the future organically. So I do think it's something that could happen, but I don't do it right now. I just do my stuff. My husband's my muse, by the way. I get a lot of my comedy from my time I spend with him.
Life
A lot.
experiences. Deborah, for those people watching this live stream or on audio, and they're interested in getting into the comedy industry, from your experience, I guess you've been doing this for 8 years now. What advice would you give to those people?
Patience. Don't. I mean, I think there are the rare people who go up to do an open mic one night, and then next thing you know, they're famous like the next day. I suppose that does happen, but if you're gonna get into the comedy thing, just do it for the happiness, for the joy that you get, and whatever happens after that will happen. I mean, I'm not famous or anything, but I still have stand-up comedy. It's something that I love, something that I do, something that I love to do. Whether I get famous or not, it's something that I have that I'm really happy to have.
A passion, a passion.
Yes, 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 and have some patience too.
What are some signs of a good comedian in your opinion?
People are crying because they're laughing so hard. Falling down. I mean, that would be like the greatest, and that's all comedians want people to cry. I think that's like the ultimate. That's the ultimate laugh you can give somebody where they can't stand up, they can't breathe, they can laughing so hard. I think that's really the ultimate goal of all comedians, to make people cry, but with laughter.
On average, how long is one of your average performances? And can you just tell us the importance of writing your jokes?
Oh, well, it's really important. But I have like they call them like solid fives, so you can go up there and do a 5 minute set. I have bunches of them, bunches and bunches of them. You put them together, I have an hour. It's just the getting somebody to let me do an hour. Even when open mics, when you go up there, there are people waiting their turn, so you get like 5 to 7 minutes. I have tons and tons of those. I have like so many, and I keep writing new ones. So, I just have like batches of like little 5 minute segments, and you could put them together and make a longer thing. But I haven't really done a longer one, only because, I do it for myself. I do comedy for myself. So there's comedians out there right now that are just this is going to be their whole life. They're going to be famous. They're pushing, they're going to make it. I don't do that kind of comedy right now. Not to say that I won't do it when I retire, because I'll have a lot more time. And you know how it happens with everybody. You just think you're going to do one thing, and then one day you wake up and go, you know what? I think I'm going to do something else. So I don't know if I'm going to, once I retire and I have endless amounts of time and I stop setting my alarm and having to get up to go to work. I'm looking forward to that, because I know it's not gonna happen the first week, because it's gonna feel like a weekend. But I think once I settle in and I start realizing, I have all this time, I'm gonna start finding out what I want to do again, like I did when I had all the time when the kids grew up. I think it's gonna be another little jump to find out what I want to do again in a different way.
As a comedian, how important is observational skills and listening skills too?
Oh my goodness. That's all. I mean, you have to have observational skills and listening skills. Otherwise, you're just kind of like walking around like Mr. Magoo. I don't know if a lot of your listeners know who Mr. Magoo is.
Yes,
Although Mr.
I
Magoo
do.
was kind of funny. Yeah, so I think listening and being observant and stuff, and seeing what's going on around you. I mean, I could literally go to the store to buy bread and come back with a 5 minute set. So I don't know. That's what happens to me. I don't know how good it is, but that's all it takes for me to get a 5 minute set, is basically going out of the house for 5 minutes and running an errand, and I come back with a set.
Do you have any rituals before a performance, and how long does it take for you to engage an audience mood? And I guess it's a little different when you're doing it on Zoom.
Well, the audience will tells you right away whether they're engaged or not. You know, for and they're there for a comedy, and they'll tell you right away which ones they like and which ones they don't like. I had met somebody at one of my open mics in Pub on Park, and he was actually a famous person who worked with a famous comedian. I'm not going to say who it was, but he said he was always backstage, and if you didn't look at the audience, you could hear the audience laughing the entire time. So you got the feeling that every single one of his jokes was hilarious. But if you looked out into the audience and you watched the audience, what would happen was he would tell a joke, and somebody on to the right side, a bunch of people on the right side and the left side would laugh. And then he would tell another one in the middle and the top would laugh, and another one. So it was really just like different people would laugh at different things. So what if somebody was laughing a second ago and he tells next jokes, then they don't laugh. So when you have a lot of people there and you're telling jokes, you could probably get continuous laughs, but you're not getting continuous laughs from the same people. So it's basically the audience. So as you have a bigger audience, you're going to do better, unless you completely bomb and no one's laughing at all. That's a horror show right there. But so if you have a bigger audience, you're going to get more, if you're okay.
I've talked to some other comedians before in Canada, the US, and the UK. They tell me doing stand-up comedy in front of a smaller audience, in their opinion, was tougher than doing it in a larger audience.
Yeah, well, because you have to make a smaller amount of people happy. And if nobody's going to be happy, you know, That's where you are. I actually had one night where the audience was on fire, laughing and laughing and laughing. And I had one of my best sets. I had it prepared. I knew what I was doing. This one got a lot of laughs wherever I went. So I couldn't wait for my turn to get up there to let these people have my good stuff. And about, I don't know, say 3 or 4 minutes before I went up, they got in a fight, and all the people that were laughing the hardest got in a fight. It was like 4 couples. I don't know what they got in a fight about. You know how friends are. And then they all just started screaming at each other. And then all of them ran out. So there's the only thing that there was left a big gaping hole where all the laughing people were. And then the rest of the people were stunned by what had just happened. So then they called my name. I was like, okay, all right. So it didn't go the way I wanted it to, but I still got a lot of laughs, but not from them people, sadly.
I'm going to put you on the spot, Deborah, with this question. How much would you say you've improved as a comedian over the past 8 years?
Oh my God. So much. So much. First of all, I'm not as worried as I used to be about my craft. I don't even worry about it at all. I just go like when I go to a live thing, I see what's going on, and I kind of like get a feel for what they like, and I'll just pick out one of my sets that I know matches what they like, because I have so many. It's kind of like if you was going to go out on a date and you didn't really know what to wear. You could just, every time you went to the ladies' room, you could change your clothes, So every time somebody would go up, they would get a feeling for what they're laughing at. And then you could just grab out one of your sets that matches with what they seem to like. And I didn't have that starting out, I didn't have I didn't have the courage. I didn't have the sets. I didn't have the experience, and I didn't have the knowledge of what was me and what wasn't me. Like I said, when I thought I was gonna do clean and not clean. I didn't realize how personal comedy was. I learned something about myself. I was almost a phony trying to go out there and and not be clean. I can't stand not being a phony. I have to be real, to a fault sometimes.
What are your thoughts of diversity in comedy, and do you find there's more female stand-up comedians than there were when you started even 8 years ago?
I think so. I mean, the diversity in stand-up comedy, I don't think there's a community out there that has more diversity in it. I really don't. I mean, you just pick somebody in a community, it's in stand-up comedy. I have so many friends, and it's just phenomenal, because you never know who the comedians are or what their experiences are when you go there. It's so exciting. It's really exciting. There's just so many different reasons why it's exciting, and sometimes it's doing the stand-up comedy is like fifth on the list. Just the networking and the people and finding out about people, and
Now, when you do a 5-minute set, how important is it to grab the audience's attention right away? Because I think as well as I do, people's attention spans in our society nowadays have shrunk.
I mean, people say that a lot. Go out there and just make them laugh immediately. I get that. I do that sometimes anyways, because I always have, I have, my sets are set up to have, that lasso. So, but I do think that you can go out there and mess up for a couple of minutes or a minute or so, and then just rail them back in, because people are out there rooting for you too. No one really wants to see a person bomb, so they're out there waiting and hoping. I mean, I haven't really bombed as much as it sounds like I have. I bombed a couple of times, but sometimes it's everybody does. I've noticed on some of the nights where I have, everybody did. And so I'm not blaming the audience, because like I said, the audience are the ones who decide. But there have been nights where nobody got any laughs, and it was just because the people were not in the mood for whatever reason.
You just can't. You gotta learn not to take it personally,
Yeah.
and how I know I'm hard on myself after each show. Do you go over every show, or you kind of how do you create? I'm going to reword this. How do you critique yourself on your performances?
I every time I do a set, I realize there was something I forgot. And sometimes it's the thing that I thought was going to be the funniest. Because it has like your set has like an anatomy, a beginning, a middle, and an end. And sometimes I forget something, and I hate that so much. But I was fortunate enough in the very beginning, like within the first like 6 months, to sit down and say, "Oh my God, I forgot to say whatever." And this guy was just so serious with me. He sat down. He goes, "Listen to me right now." He goes, "That's going to happen every single time. That's why it happened, because it's going to happen every single time. It happens to everybody every time." So I felt better about it then, but I was like, no, it's not going to happen to me. I'm not going to forget. And I do. And I do every single time. So he was right, but I'm still trying to prove that he wasn't right. He was right, though.
Do you have a bucket list that you want to accomplish as a comedian? And do you have any plans on traveling outside of Rhode Island to do comedy?
Yes. Like I said, a Dat fan has his own studio, so he can do in studio. I'd like to do that someday. Right now, I can't do it, but that is on my bucket list. That's one of the things I want to do the most. But like I said, when I retire, I think it's something that I would like to be able to do, um, is comedy, but also not to change the subject, but also I do think I might be spending more time on my writing and stuff that leads that like maybe speaking engagements that have something to do with my writing. So I think that might be something that I'm going to do the most, which will lead to probably invitations from people that I see. Oh, because you never know who's going to be in that venue or that area where you're doing your speaking engagement. There are all kinds of people, and someone could say, "Hey, I know you do stand-up comedy. Would you like to come and do such and such?" And I would do it. So that's basically what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping to be second invited to a venue to do stand-up comedy because I was doing the speaking engagement for my writing.
Speaking of that, can you tell us about your freelance writing and your book, Sweetie? How much you gave up to keep that relationship?
Yes. Well, how that book came about was, um, I know it's going to sound like a long time ago, 40 years ago. I was single and I had started going out with this person. Let me just get some water because you're very good at your job. I'm dry now.
I keep my water with me too. I
I'm so
keep two
sorry.
bottles. No, it's okay. It's cool.
So, um, and it turned out that he was very controlling and jealous, and I was losing everything. I was losing access to everybody and everything. I had never heard of it before, because it was a long time ago. And I just decided this relationship wasn't going to work, and we broke up. And well, I broke up. Apparently, he didn't think his breakup was going to work for him, and so he followed me around for 5 years after that. But he kept getting me fired from jobs and see me out everywhere. But he never found me in my apartment. I was always super careful trying to go home, so I lived there for almost 5 years, and he never found me there. And then one weekend, I lived on the second floor, and the people on the third floor and the people on the first floor moved out, leaving me alone in the building. But I mean, I'd already been comfortable, so I was comfortable. And Monday rolls around, and I thought it was a landlord asking me how I was doing, but it was him. And then all of a sudden, the screaming started and the hitting started, and I just assumed that it was over because everyone left. No one's going to hear me now. But uh, the apartment had been rented. I didn't know somebody moved in, but it was only I was a person with just a sleeping bag and a bag of cups and a baseball bat. So he came running down. I didn't even see his face. All I saw was his feet and the bat swing, and the person that was hitting me got up and ran away. Now, I thought I was going to have to move because, once he knew where I lived, he was going to, I'm sorry, that's my granddaughter. But turned out that he was a coward. So one person went against him besides a girl, and he was just gone. And so that was really interesting. But another interesting part was, of course, I wanted to thank the person who helped me. So I married him. We've been married for 37 years now, have 5 children. Thank you.
Congratulations.
As a matter of fact, I actually do that part right there in comedy because I said my husband was my muse. I said, how many people have heard that no good deed goes unpunished? It's like, I think it's bullshit. And everyone's like, yeah, it's bullshit. I said, well, somebody saved me from being assaulted in the hallway. How would that person get punished? And then when I say I married him, and people are like, oh my God, they can't imagine how many times this person has been punished for that good deed. But yeah, we've been married for a long time. And so then we had, I had my daughter, and it was like 2:00 in the morning one night, and I got up and I was feeding her, and I was just looking at her. And I remember everything that had happened with that person. I mean, I'm not stupid. I was educated. I was a smart person. How did this happen to me? I mean, I have to tell her. What if I don't live for another 20 years? You know what I mean? And I can't tell her what happened. So I started writing everything down because I was going to write this little manuscript to give to her, and somebody would give it to her if something happened to me and I couldn't tell her. And so I just wrote everything down, and it got to be what it is now. And so many people, my friends, were like, can you make me a copy, please? So I was spending, I can't even tell you how much time making copies for people so that they could give it to their children. And then one day I was like, maybe I'll just publish it as a book and see if, it helps other people. Now, first of all, that was a long time ago. That's what I was thinking. But now I know that it actually is a book that's completely different from any other book out there for domestic abuse. And one of the reasons I know is that I was in a shelter, of course. That happens along the way. And they give you this stuff to read, bless their hearts. But it's so dry, and it has nothing to do with the person who's reading it, and it has nothing to do with your situation. And it spends a lot of time talking about the abuser too, but my book is personal and intimate, and it's a conversation with the person who's reading it, and it focuses on how people get trapped. And I remember absolutely everything, and I was writing it down passionately for my daughter at the time, and I didn't want her. I mean, my book is short. You can already tell I'm not short on words, but I knew it had to be short for her. You don't want to have 300 pages to tell somebody something they may or may not want to hear. So my book is super short, which is part of its power. But there are so many reasons how I got trapped, and I remember every single one of them. And I made sure that I talked about every single one of them. And one of the ones I want to talk about tonight, if it's okay, is when you're a victim of a domestic violence, the person, the way they act, right? You believe that if you could just make this person understand that you love them and you're not going to leave, that everything's going to be okay, because that's kind of how they act. They act like they're so afraid they're going to lose you. It seems to come across like that. But what's really true is that can never happen, because what's going on is they're using the person as food, because they're getting this feeling from abusing somebody, like the feelings you get from a video game or any activity. Yes. Not necessarily a drug, but so they're getting this feeling from abusing people, like a little shush or whatever they're getting. And so they're basically using the person as food, like a vampire. So in the makeup part where they're being really nice and gentle and like apologetic, that's food prep. That's like getting you all calmed down so that you can be just ready. Like you could be unexpecting it, not expecting it, and so they can start again. So they're basically vampires, and they're just using the person as food. It can never end. It can never end. And if you did some research, you would find out how many elderly people, men and women, this is not just women, but elderly people have been in this situation for decades, and it never ends because the person is starving and they're never going to be fed. They're never going to have enough in there. So it's always going to happen. And the person is who's being abused. There's so many different reasons. One of the things that happened, and I remember it happened to me, and I know exactly what happened because I spent a lot of time thinking about it, is when you love somebody, right? A person who's not your child, there are deal breakers. They can do things where like you're at, we're not doing this anymore or whatever. But with your children, there are no deal breakers. No matter what they do, you just keep coming back and coming back because it's just something that happens with your child. And the abusers somehow find a way into your heart where it's only meant for your children. And so you're using the most powerful tool that I know of, a parent's love, incorrectly for your partner. And so if you're using a powerful tool incorrectly, I think we could all agree you're going to get hurt. And this is what's happening. So you got those two things put together. And there's many other things in my book. I do it succinctly. I do it very short. But you put those two together where you can't give up. You cannot let go. And then he's using you for food. It's a horror. It's like, it is really like human trafficking, but you only have one trafficker. And the worst part of domestic violence, of course, I'm out now. The worst part is there are so many people trapped in domestic violence that should be part of our community. And we are being robbed of these people who have all these amazing gifts to give and to participate with their community. We don't even know what they could do. I mean, look at me. I'm doing stand-up comedy. I'm the mother to 5 children. I wrote a book about it. I'm just one person. But we need to get these people out because we're being robbed as communities everywhere of all the gifts that we could be experiencing as a community. Now, my main people who buy my books obviously are not victims because they can't even go to the bathroom inside their house without explaining what they're doing. It is that bad. It is that bad. So the family members are the ones who are buying my book. And they read my book, and I've been told by people who don't even know each other that after they read my book, their heart sank because they just said, "Oh, I guess she just wants to be there." Their heart sank because they realized how trapped the person is, and they don't even know. And they felt like that feeling that you would get if you left your child sitting in a little child carrier and drove off, left him in a truck stop by accident. You know how that feeling you would have? And they realized they left the person that they loved in a situation where they can't get out. And they didn't know, the family member didn't know that they can't get out, that they need help. And once they get that book, they got it to their persons. Many, many people have told me this. They got it to the person because that was another reason why it has to be short, is because sometimes when you get them out of that situation and get them to another place, the abuser will find them within an hour and convince them to come back. But that's how long it takes to read my book. So by the time they've been found, they have read my whole book.
Debra, what are some signs of domestic violence? And besides detecting the signs of it, what are some things that women can do to prevent themselves? And do you find there's more help for women and people now than there was, let's say, 40 years ago?
Oh, yes. Yes. There is more help. And it's become a thing. It's become a whole thing of its own. I mean, years ago when there was domestic violence, there was just, there was a lot of victim blaming, it's like, well, what are you doing? And now we know it's not them. We know so well that they have been lured in and trapped, like, you just like lure a little puppy into a garage with a treat and then slam the door shut. It is that easy for these abusers to get their next victim, and the person's own goodness is sometimes their downfall. Some of the signs are very easy to spot for me now, but not necessarily other people, where, you had a family member, they were part of your family, and then next thing you know, they get a significant other and they're telling you how amazing they are, and they love them, they hang on their every word, and then next thing you know, they're not answering your texts or answering your phone calls, or you're not seeing them anymore, or they make up excuses why they can't even go out to lunch with you. And it just becomes a thing, and then you finally realize that there's, it doesn't even have to be physical violence. It just has to be people trying to get you trapped where you can't be with other people. Very rarely does it not lead to violence, but it sometimes doesn't have to. There have been people out there say, well, you never hit me, but I never saw my family, I couldn't go anywhere, I couldn't have a job, I couldn't make a phone call, I couldn't do anything. So it's the same thing. That is why my book actually doesn't have any talk about violence or any of that stuff, because it doesn't need it. It talks to the person about the kind of things that I'm talking about right now, and it talks directly to the person. There's just, it's hard to believe how much I was able to cram into a very short book, and I made it so simple to read too. That was one of the things that was very important to me. It's like the Pedialyte of literature, and I'm not sure if you know what Pedialyte is up in Canada.
No, I'm not sure.
It's if your child is sick and they're throwing up or whatever end is happening too much, and so they're not getting any vitamins or they're not getting any nutrition. It's a drink that's made specifically to have everything absorbed. So you drink it and you got it. Even if some stuff still manages to leave your system, you're still getting some of the stuff that you need. So basically, my book is like, once you read it, you can't not know what you read. Like, I used the dictionary a couple of times in there to explain what I'm talking about. Like right in the beginning, I said, if you're in a good relationship, you're going to thrive. And I said, I looked up thrive, and we both know thrive is good. But I looked it up and I put the definition in there. And thrive means to grow vigorously. It doesn't mean you didn't die yet. It means to grow vigorously. And I just used it many times, and I wrote it as simply as possible. Like basically, a 12-year-old could read my book and get the same out of it as an educated person, and an adult. But it's not written for a kid. But it's just so easy to understand and read. It's literally for everybody.
What advice would you give to, I'm not just going to say women, because now men can be abused physically and mentally as well.
Yes.
So advice for those who are experiencing this domestic abuse right now, either mentally, verbally, or physically. What advice would you give to those people?
They need help. They need help of other people. They can't do it themselves, because these people, these abusers, men or women, they are hell bent, and they're not going to give up their meal. They are not. So you can try to get away by yourself, and you think you just move into another apartment or leave. But no, you have got to have help. You have got to have help, and you've got to get away from that situation. You have got to be someplace for a little while, at least, where that person doesn't know where you are. You have to change the message on your phone so that you're not even your voice. They can't even hear your voice, because you can block their number, but they can still find a way to call your phone and hear your voice. If they hear your voice, what they're going to hear is, hi, so-and-so, can you please try to way to find me? So you even have to take your voice off of your voice message. You have to go someplace where they can't find you for a while. And when people who have been abused for a while do get away, they mistake the peace and quiet for loneliness. I do talk about that in my book. It is not loneliness. It takes a little while to get used to the way that life should be. But sometimes when people get away, they think they're lonely. and that is dangerous. So I do definitely cover that in my book. But they need help. You can't do it by yourself. You can it would be best to never get in this situation. I've had people say my book needs to be in schools. Of course, I'm just one person, so I work every day. I do something every single day. I just got on a site where I'm connected to retailers. I have one bookstore here in downtown Providence that's selling my book, Books on the Square, downtown Providence. 471 Angel Street, Providence. It's an amazing store. I'm hoping to get more stores on board, but it's not as easy as you think. You bring in something amazing like your book, they don't know. They just hear you saying how amazing it is, and their shelves are like real estate. They're not just going to give up a spot on their shelves because there's so many books out there. They have to be selective. So getting your book in stores is a little more work than you might think.
For our audience watching our show live stream in audio and they're interested in purchasing your book online, is it available on Amazon, I'm assuming?
Yes, it's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. Most of the sites that you can buy books from, it's there. It is there. I do have a website also.
Please mention it. I think I just lost your audio, Debra. I can see you. I just can't hear you. Everybody, I apologize. Just an audio issue with Debra. I think she muted
Is that better?
herself. Yeah, I think she's just unmuted.
I didn't actually touch anything.
Yeah, you're back. Yeah.
But I never even touched anything.
I guess it happens sometimes. So, there might be a ghost. But you know what? I can hear you. So, go. Yeah, you were mentioning where your book is available online.
Oh,
and
yes.
Your website before our little.
Can you imagine? Maybe it is a ghost, right? My book is available on all the online stores right now. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, all the places that you would buy any of those books. It's also you can get it on my website and get a signed copy. Those are a little more because they have to pay for shipping. My website is a thing in progress, so you go there and whatever you see today might not be there tomorrow, as most websites are. But I guarantee you, I have people tell me that they put my book in their bag when they go places, because the way it's conversational. It has like little snippets and it has little titles for each and every paragraph, not paragraph, but part. And so they like to reread it sometimes or take it to somebody and then read pieces to them. So I've heard so many people tell me different things. I have a politician. I'm not going to really name his name, but I know he had that in his family. I had heard it on the news, and I sent him a copy, and he sent me the most amazing letter, saying that it was beautiful and vivid, and just the stuff that he said. I could tell that he understood. I believe it was his mother now, not his father. It was, like I said, it is both men and women. He understood his mother so much more, because once you understand why they don't leave, you understand them so completely. You understand why they need help. You understand why they need to read the book so that they understand why they need help. Because we only have one life to live. We should live it with somebody who loves us and we love them. Because my husband, who I met in the weirdest way, he is so supportive. If I said, I said, hey, there's a contest downtown Providence. I'm going to go there and get in line and pitch something, and he's like, okay, whatever. I'm going to start doing comedy every Monday night. I'm gonna drive down there. I'm gonna be home around 10, 11 o'clock. I don't know. Okay, we have a trust between us because we're trustworthy people. That's the problem with abusers. They say, it's not you I don't trust. It's other people. Well, the world's full of other people. right? You have to just trust the person that you've made a commitment with, not the other people. But the problem is, um, not only are they vampires, but the opposite of love is not hate, like a lot of people would just think. It's indifference. So if I'm at home making a sandwich and I see the TV says, oh, there's an accident, maybe even nearby me, and it's not me, and I just continue making my sandwich, I'm completely indifferent to the person who just suffered whatever it was that was going on there. That is the opposite of love. So the people who are the abusers, like I said, they're just using you for food. So they are indifferent to everything that you need, all of your wants, your desires, the stuff that you care about, everything. They're completely indifferent to that. That's the opposite of love. So they're that's the one of the saddest parts, because this person thinks that they're spending time, in a relationship where they have love, and they don't. They're just a meal, and
Deborah,
a lot of things about vampires, they don't you don't see it at first with vampires. You think it's something else. You've seen the movies.
Deborah, I wanted to ask you and get your perspective on this too. I know times have changed, but do you find that the abuse has increased over the decades with the internet and social media, especially for
Yes.
stalking and abusing
Oh,
somebody?
yes. Yes, it's gotten so much worse. 2020, I think, was probably one of the darkest years for victims of domestic violence, because everyone had to stay home. Everything could be delivered. You could, you didn't have to go out to do stuff. Years ago, people, especially people with children, they would at least have, if their child got sick, it was almost like a relief. They could get out there and go to the doctors and maybe possibly find somebody who could hear them and let them know that something's going on. But 2020 was a really dark year for victims of domestic violence, because they were just shut up in the house, and it was bad. It was really bad, and it's gotten worse. And it's gotten worse because all the things that were put in place are still in place, and I do believe that abusers are using a lot of that stuff for their advantage. You know.
Do you feel law enforcement takes this seriously enough?
Oh yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think the domestic violence is one of their number one calls for quantity. I think that's most of the calls they get is domestic violence. And we have seen that police officers are often the ones getting hurt that go out on these calls, you know. And they have to be very smart when they go out there, because they sometimes, uh, the people answer the door, the person who's getting abused and the person who's the abuser, whichever it is, and they're telling the police officer everything's fine, and they have to know what they're listening to when they're hearing everything's fine, but it isn't fine, you know. And sometimes I've seen abusers turn things around on people and say that they're the ones that got abused, so that other person gets arrested. But it's a good opportunity to be out of that situation and possibly get things straightened out for yourself. So I know a lot of people worry about that, but I have always said, that's, maybe you should, when the police come and go, I'm the one who did it, you should arrest me. You know what I mean?
How satisfying has it to be able to help some women or help some people? And there's a stereotype too. It's automatically it's women, but men can be
Oh, yes.
abused as well, and
Yes.
elderly, and even young children too.
Yes. And it's just a human thing. It's just a human thing, because a parent's love is not just for women. So I meant to say this. They actually found out. They just released the study just recently that the love of a dog can release certain things inside your brain, some sort of like endorphins inside your brain that no human can release, because people know they're going to get unconditional love from their dog. And that same stuff that we're just talking about right here is what happens when you get abused. the person kind of finds a way how they act to get into the part where you love somebody that's meant for your children. So this can happen to men and women. And you don't even realize that you're using the unconditional love that you were supposed to only use on your children for this abuser. And you don't know that's what happened. And when I heard about that study about dogs, when you look at a dog and they release, only they can do that because something happens in your brain. We know how complicated our brains are. And I'm telling you, I was there. I know what happened to me. I know what happened to me, and I was able to compare it before and after, and I know exactly what happened. And I was able to write it all down in quickly in a short book, and explained it so perfectly that you can't not understand it. And people who the people who buy my book, like I said, are family members, and they are beside themselves with grief because they realize they left their person in a precarious situation they can't get out of. They just assumed, oh, well, I guess they'll leave when they're ready. And once they finish reading my book, they're like, oh, my God, we have to get back there and help them because they can't. And then when the person who's been abused, and I get them there for that 1 hour, and they can actually read my book in that 1 hour, and they read it and they find out what's been happening to them, they are furious, which is what I wanted. They're furious and they're excited because they know that they don't have what they need and they have to stop it and get out. And I know so many times when people get out of domestic violence, I have heard, and I've actually experienced it myself, they're outside and they hear birds and they hear wind and they feel wind on their face and they see grass and they see like reflections on stuff and they're like, it's so beautiful out here. They've been underground for 20 years. You know what I mean? It's just everything is it's so sad what's happening. And there's so many abuses out there, but they're not a problem for me, right? Because I know now. So if you could still have the same amount of abusers out there that you have right now, but nobody spends their time with them. So if enough people read my book, it could be earth shattering. Everybody could
Debra,
just come out. Yes.
Is your book is available hard copy? Is it available in digital form and audio as well?
I'm working on audio right now, and the special thing about the audio is that it's going to be gender neutral. I did write the first one, the paperback is for my daughters, the ebook is for my daughters. I mean, the ebook is all the same, so it's written specifically kind of for girls, but I'm doing an audio book right now. It should be done very soon, and it's going to be gender neutral. Because when I first wrote it, that wasn't really as much as it is right now. But I think it's going to be a good thing, and people are going to really love it.
Any plans for a second book in the future?
Oh, I have so many books. I have 2 more Sweetie books. They're finished. I have a book for songs called Rantings of an Idiot. I have short stories. I have a novel. It's a rom-com. That's all finished. I have so much stuff that's finished. Of course, I because I couldn't really publish it. When you go through publishing, you're looking for a publisher, you get a lot of no's, or you go through a self-publisher, you have to pay a lot of money for them to publish your book. And so that's why I started my own publishing company in April. So I'm publishing all of my stuff pretty soon. And I'm doing Rantings of Idiot next. Sorry.
No apology. Before we wrap this up, Debra, we're a little short on time.
I'm sorry.
I do this. No, it's okay. I do this with all my guests. What are some fun facts about Debra Palardy, or a fun fact about yourself?
Oh, fun fact. I love everybody. I laugh a lot. I laugh at probably not so that I'm obnoxious. I love my children so much. It's something I've always wanted to be is a mom. And I have 5 children, and my 5 children can quickly turn into 10 if they have their significant others. And now I have 3 grandchildren.
Congrats.
from just two of my children. So I could I one time when my kids were all still at home, but they had all their friends over, their boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever, and my brother had come to the house. It was a Tuesday. So I forget, he was dropping something off or whatever it was. He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were having a party." I'm like, "I'm not having a party. There's nobody here. It's Tuesday." But the house was just full of people, conversation, everyone's laughing and having a great time. We were just finishing up dinner and nobody was there. It was just us. So, if you had a life like that and then you invited somebody, it would be even bigger. I always wanted to have a big family, something I just, and I somehow got, and let me tell you something, it wasn't easy. It's not easy having 5 children. I struggled a lot, but somehow I got there. And women who have children and men who have children, they know what I'm talking about. I mean, but now that they're all grown up, it seems like you could have had more. Not if you ask my husband, of course. He'll say, no, we couldn't have had more.
I've never been a parent, but being an uncle to 2 nieces and a nephew, now my 2 nieces are all in their 20s. My nephew's 28. They grow up quickly. So I tell the parents, the aunts, the uncles, the grandparents, cousins, spend time because kids grow up quick nowadays.
Yes, yes, it's true. It's true. It is really true. I mean, I can't believe it. I had my twins at 40 years old. Now, it wasn't something I did on purpose. Now they're 27. So, and I'm still here. I'm still here, ready to roll, for some new adventures. So, yes, they do grow up quickly, but, you also have enough time to, you don't have to rush out there and have kids or an early age because, you know, I did it at 40 and
Yep.
I'm still okay.
Yep.
They're 27.
Deborah, this is a new segment I created on my show. Ask the host CDP a question. Do you have a question for me?
Yes, I want to know which sports that you like the most.
Obviously, being Canadian, hockey, lacrosse, indoor lacrosse. I know there's field lacrosse outdoor, but indoor lacrosse, hockey, basketball, baseball, football. And yeah, those are my favorite sports. And I just love sports because it unites people. It doesn't matter your political views, teams and sports. It just brings people together for a couple hours. And it is drama, but in a way, it's good drama because sometimes your team wins and sometimes your team loses. But that's how life goes.
It happened again, but this time I knew what it was.
Okay, we figured it out. It wasn't the ghost.
Anything. But that's one of the things I like about sports because it does bring people together and it's competition and stuff. And I see the people that I love in my life, not just men and women too, and they're just so happy. And so I do love sports. I'm just not I'm just not I don't have that kind of physical talent to be in
And,
sports.
and I love doing this talk show too. And I love sports, but I also can do episodes that are non-sports. And I want people to come on and watch or listen to this show and be entertained by my guests for even a half an hour or an hour. And hopefully that makes their night or day even better.
Yeah. And we want all those people who are trapped in domestic violence to get out and be part of the community and give us their gifts and share their lives with us, even if they don't have gifts. We miss them and we love them. And I know for a fact that they need help. And I hope that enough
Absolutely.
people get my book and see how helpful it is. I have had so much feedback. It's not just me saying it anymore.
Finally, Deborah, where can my audience follow you on social media? And do you have any upcoming live comedy performances that you'd like to plug on here?
Not live ones, but I do have Facebook, which is Debra Palardy, and I have Instagram, which is like Deborah Decay's Palardy. I have TikTok, which is Sweetie Book. I have a lot of stuff on TikTok. I love TikTok. Um, I have all the social media. I'm not as good at gardening that yet. as I will be. It's something that's, coming around a little bit on its own. Like I said, and once I have more time, I'll be able to do a lot more stuff. But I have everything, all the things that most people have. I just have to get better at making it so that people want to look at it, My Facebook page, though, I have quite a few followers right now because of my comedy friends and my family. I have a huge Italian family from New England. So I'm not sure if
Italian.
you know what
What?
that means.
Oh, you said Italian. So, what's your favorite Italian food?
um, well, I mean, I'm sad to say that it's spaghetti and meatballs. I want to say it's something more exciting than that, but it is. I like the angel hair. Again, I'm alone with the kind of pasta that I like. I like the angel hair, but if the most amazing thing to me is the spaghetti and meatballs. It comes with a salad, a glass of wine, some bread and stuff, and all the people that come with it. That's basically my favorite right there.
For me, it's lasagna. Now, you said
I was just
wine,
gonna
red
ask.
wine, lasagna.
Uh,
What? I love lasagna, especially
yeah.
homemade, but I love old pasta. Red wine or white wine? Out of curiosity.
I wish I was more sophisticated. If you pour wine in my glass, I will drink it. I'm not really. I just say thank you, and, but I do like to sometimes. I buy grapes and I get them nicely washed and whatever, and I'll freeze them and I'll put them in my wine, and then they're really really good to eat afterwards. So much so that I actually started to grow my own grapevines this year. They're little, but they're coming up now. So I'm going to have my own grapes pretty soon to put in my wine, and I won't have to worry about, pesticides. You know how you hear like there's a lot of
Yeah.
pesticides and things, and so plus I have my grandchildren here. I've grown all kinds of stuff for them to eat over here.
Sure. Well, Deborah, I want to say thank you so much for giving us an hour of your time tonight to talk about
Thank
your
you.
comedy career and about your book and domestic abuse and your story behind it. I really appreciate you doing this and continued success with your comedy and your writing. And you have an open invite to come back on my show again in the future.
Oh, I would love to come back. Love to come back so much because you are an amazing host. You're so talented. I don't. I see how humble you are, so I don't think you realize just how talented you are.
Well,
But you are
thank you
very
very much.
talented.
Well, thank you very much, and it's about the guests. I'm just a host, and I'm very lucky with a lot of great guests, and thank you so much for sharing your story on here. And I just wish you continued success. And give me a little bit of time tonight, and I will send you the full video, the audio, and some reels and clips, and we'll tag you in on social media as well.
Thank you so much. I'm just looking forward to that.
Thank you so much, Deborah. And I'm hoping one day in the future to get to visit the Rhode Island and get back to the Boston, New England area again as well.
Oh, and make sure we have some coffee or something or dinner when you come out.
Or wine. Wine.
And wine for sure. That just goes
Okay,
without
deal.
saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Deborah, well, thank you so much and have a great night and
Thank you.
enjoy your 4th of July on Thursday.
Yes.
Our Canada Day is tomorrow here in Canada. So
Oh, well, you
happy
enjoy
Canada
tomorrow
Day and
then.
happy 4th of July.
And
And
happy
happy
birthday
4th of
too.
July for you. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
53. And you know what? I'm very lucky. And thank you so much, Deborah, for coming on here
Thank
tonight.
you. Have a nice night.
You too. You too. That concludes season 11, episode 5 overall of 555 of Live with CDP Sports Entertainment Talk Show, sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership here in Guelph. Before we wrap up this show, everybody, we're going to show you a little clip of an interview I did with Ryan DeSantos, an outfielder, third base, men with the Toronto Maple Leafs with the third baseman outfielder for the Intercounty Baseball League's Toronto Maple Leaf. And I recorded this interview on Saturday night after the Leafs lost 2-1 to the Guelph Royals. This is a Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team, not the hockey team, by the way, and they've been around since the 60s. And I love the Toronto Maple Leafs new hats and uniforms they have. And this is Ryan DeSantos third baseman outfielder from the Toronto Maple Leafs. I did an interview courtesy of my YouTube channel, Chris Palme Live with CDP Talk Show. Please remember to subscribe and hit the like notification. This is Chris Palme live at Hastings Stadium here in Guelph for tonight's Intercounty Baseball League matchup between the Guelph Royals and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Guelph Royals end up winning this in a 2-1 great pitching duel game. And I have Toronto Maple Leafs player Ryan Santos. Ryan, thoughts on the game tonight against Guelph?
It was a good game. Both pitchers came out and competed, and we on the wrong side of this one, but we'll bounce back tomorrow in London.
Yeah, thoughts on the 2-game series against the Guelph Royals?
I think they've really improved since the last time we've seen them. Now they're a growing team, and I think they're going to be a very strong competitor in this league, but I think we hang right with them and see them down later in the season.
Can you tell my audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Ryan Dos Santos, number 8 for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I play outfield and a little bit of third base as well. You'll usually catch me hitting leadoff for this team, and I was All-Star in 2024.
Thoughts on manager Rob Butler and the job he's done with this team?
Rob Butler's a great guy. He's a great influence on the guys. He shows up and he has his best foot forward for all of us. He makes great decisions for us, and he's a great leader, and I'm glad to have him around the clubhouse.
What's his biggest strengths as a manager, in your opinion?
Biggest strengths, just being a leader. Like, he shows up every day to help us out, and he's always willing to give back to the game. And it's a huge positive for us.
Overall, you guys are 10-10. How do you feel this team's going to head into the second half of the season again and against the London Majors tomorrow at Labatt Park?
I think we'll come out strong. We have a very good offense, and pitching's been very strong for us. Last time we went to London, we ended up getting the win, so I have no doubts that we will pull it off again.
What's your biggest strengths as a baseball player?
Usually my biggest strength is my eye at the plate, and then also using my speed to capitalize on opportunities. As of right now, I lead the league in stolen bases, so I try to always take that extra 90 feet to get in scoring position to help the guys drive me in.
Who were some of your early influences in baseball?
My early influences in baseball, I've had several. I've had Damian Toppoli, who used to be the old manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. He was a great influence for my entire life. It's one of my main hitting instructors, so a lot of shout out goes to him. And then Patty V from the Ontario Blue Jays, great outfield coach, and always stuck by me as well.
And what are some fun facts about yourself, and is there a story behind your number?
It's actually my girlfriend's favorite number, so I ended up taking it for her. I used to wear number 17, but number 17 was taken on this team, so I decided to do something nice for her. Fun fact about myself is I like to play hockey in the off season, and yeah, it's really just about me.
For fans who have never been to an IBL game or a Toronto Maple Leafs game, what would you say to them to come out to a game at Christie Pitts?
It's great baseball. At Christie Pitts, it's free baseball as well, so it's a great atmosphere to come be a part of. Christie, come support the Leafs, and it's a good time. It's a good time for the family. It's a good time for friends, especially our night games get kind of rowdy, and it's a good time.
In your time in the Intercounty Baseball League, which ballpark besides Christie Pitts do you really like playing in?
I like the atmosphere both London and Welland. You get a good turnout, good fans.
Baseball League's Toronto Maple Leafs, third baseman as well. If you want to follow the league, you can follow it at theibl.ca. theibl.ca. It's been around since 1919, and it's Canadian pro baseball, and they do a really great job. And there's a 9-team league, and I want to say thank you to Ryan and the Toronto Maple Leafs organization for arranging that interview with Ryan after the Leafs 2-1 loss to the Guelph Royals on Saturday night. And hopefully I'll be doing some more games this summer as well. And before I wrap up the show, guys, I have another announcement to make. And my announcement's coming up now. The next live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, sponsored by BarryCollin.com, is going to be on Thursday, July 3rd at 1:30 p.m. Eastern with my special guest and a friend of the show, Mike Farwell. He's the host of the Mike Farwell Show on 570 City News in Kitchener, Ontario. He's also the longtime play-by-play voice of the Ontario Hockey League's Kitchener Rangers, and he's also the founder of Farwell for Hire, a charity fundraiser he does every year in May for cystic fibrosis as well, and they raised over $233,000 this year. So Mike Farwell from 570 City News in Kitchener will be my special guest this Thursday, July 3rd at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. So please tune in. And also, guys, wishing everyone in Canada and listening a very happy Canada Day holiday on Tuesday, July 1st. And for my American friends and viewers, happy 4th of July to them this Friday, July 4th. And ours is our holiday is a couple days before the Americans as well. So happy Canada Day coming up. And as we wrap up this show, guys, at Barry Cullen Chevrolet, check out a 2025 Corvette Stingray or an E-Ray. You can finance from 0% for up to 60 months. More details at barrycullen.com or drop by the dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Automall. Conditions apply. View offer details as well. If I win the lottery, I'm going to buy the Corvette Stingray. They have a beautiful one in their showcase room. It's blue color, royal blue color, and they're nice looking vehicles. And as always, their electric vehicles are well at Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Barry Cullen Chevrolet has been a proud sponsor of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show for the last 3 years. And they have great customer service there. And shout out to Greg Smith and Matt Goldsmith in the service department at Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Before we wrap up the show, guys, if you're looking to get a personalized video from yours truly, I am on cameo.com. Go to cameo.com, type in my name, Chris Palme, and request a video for me. I do birthday wishes, happy anniversary, pep talks. If you'd like me to talk to me about sports or my media work or my talk show, please make sure you book a Cameo today, cameo.com/Chris Palme. You can follow me now on Blue Sky Social, which is like what Twitter X used to be. I'm on Blue Sky Social at Live with CDP19 if you wish to follow me on Blue Sky Social. And I'm on there quite often as well. And also for my guest, Debra Palardy, you can follow her on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And she does have a website as well. It's sweetiepublishing.com. That's sweetiepublishing.com. And again, I want to say thank you to my guest tonight, Debra Palardy, for coming on here. Now, if you're in the Cambridge area and you're looking to adopt a pet, check out the Cambridge District Humane Society at 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge, Ontario. Telephone number 519-623-7722, extension 0, or visit their website, cambridgehumanesociety.org. All the animals that are up for adoption, cats and dogs and bunny rabbits, their profiles are on cambridgehumanesociety.org. And if you're looking to volunteer as a dog walker, well, like I do twice a week, go to cambridgehumanesociety.org, go to their volunteer application form, fill it out, get the process starting. They do a wonderful job down there. And also, if you're able to make a donation, they're looking for cash donations, food donations, and they're also looking for cat litter, bed sheets, towels, stuff if you have at home that you're not using anymore, please consider bringing it to the Cambridge District Humane Society. They also every Wednesday do a pet emergency fund for people in the Cambridge area that are struggling financially with the high cost of pet food. If you have dog food, cat food, puppy food, kitten food, and you're able to donate it, please consider doing so to the Cambridge District Humane Society, which is right beside the Cambridge Centre Mall on 1650 Dunbar Road. They do a wonderful job in looking after our homeless furry friends and making sure they get adopted into the right homes with the right families as well. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show is live streamed on these platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, Twitch, LinkedIn, and now available on Instagram. And please make sure you follow and hit the like notification. I do have a website. You can follow my website at beacons.ai/Christy Palme. And you can also subscribe. All my social media sites, all my digital media work, and all my talk shows are on beacons.ai/Christy Palme. And make sure you subscribe. Yes, I am a content creator. This 53-year-old man is on TikTok. You can follow me on TikTok at Chris Palme. Check out my latest content from Niagara-on-the-Lake this weekend for my birthday, and I will have some more content coming up. And also, I did some Toronto Maple Leafs Golf Royals content this past Saturday night as well. So at Chris Palme on TikTok, make sure you follow me there as well. StreamYard is the official live stream provider of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. If you're into webinars or podcasting, check out StreamYard.com. They have basic free plans or paid professional plans like yours truly has. And if you're a business that does a lot of webinars or podcasting or live streaming, go to StreamYard.com and their contact their sales department for pricing as well. And I've been with StreamYard now for over 4 years, and I give them a big thumbs up. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, the audio versions on these platforms: iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify for podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Spotify, Castbox, LinkedIn, Pandora, Tuned In, YouTube Music, and Good Pods. And please remember to subscribe and hit the follow notification as well. Finally, guys, you can email the show Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show at cpalme19@gmail.com. Any comments, questions, suggestions, feedback would be greatly appreciated. And if you'd like to support my talk show and my media work and you really enjoy it, or would like to buy the host a coffee, I am on PayPal. cpalme19@gmail.com on PayPal if you'd like to tip the host, buy me a coffee, or contribute towards my media work on my YouTube channel and all my talk shows as well. And finally, you guys can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, X, Threads, Instagram, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, everywhere but Snapchat. And also, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, Chris Palme Live with CDP Talk Show. And I want to say thank you to my 638 subscribers, and I'm getting very close to 500,000 views as well. And that wraps up our show, guys. I want to say thank you to my guest again tonight, Debra Palardy, a stand-up comedian out of Rhode Island and an author of her own book, for coming on here tonight and talking to us about her comedy career and experienced domestic violence as well. So I really appreciate Debra coming on. And again, my next show is going to be Thursday, July 3rd at 1:30 with Mike Farwell from 570 News here in Kitchener, Ontario. And again, wishing everyone watching and listening here in Canada a very happy Canada Day holiday on July 1st. And I want to say thank you to everybody for all my birthday wishes yesterday on Facebook, Twitter, X, and Instagram. I had a quiet birthday, but it was a good birthday. I ate too much. I had too much cake and pie and some ice cream. But overall, it was a good time, and I really appreciate everybody's birthday wishes. And that's about it for tonight's show. Blue Jays are in action tonight against the Yankees at the Rogers Center at 7:07, and the Tigers are off tonight. They're on the road and taking on those Washington Nationals tomorrow night on Canada Day. I hope everybody has a great evening. Enjoy your Canada Day holiday. Please drink responsibly, and we'll see you back here this Thursday at 1:30 with Mike Farwell from 570 News in Kitchener. And I want to say thank you to Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership for sponsoring this show. And if you're a business out there that's looking to advertise on Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, I'd love to work with you and have you come aboard as a sponsor. You can email me at cpalme19@gmail.com. Have a great evening, everybody. Happy Canada Day. And we'll see you Thursday, 1:30 with Mike Farwell.
Bye.